Thank you to EA Game Changers for the opportunity. Apex Legends Legacy is the biggest season yet, and no other season comes close. There's so much to delve into, from meta changes like new hop-ups and balance updates to a brand new game mode and everything in between. I'm about to showcase everything, so let's jump into it. First up is Valkyrie. She is the daughter of infamous Apex predator Viper. Valkyrie is a dream for movement fanatics in Apex. On the surface, her kit may not seem as impactful as Octane's, Paths or Horizons, but she has a higher skill ceiling that will reward players that master it. Valkyrie's main draw is her multi-skilled passive. Firstly, her VTOL jets. These allow Valkyrie to fly when she holds jump whilst in midair. You fly upwards as you hold it, but can move in all directions too. Each time you activate the jets, you get a boost of movement in the direction you're holding too. There's going to be a lot to learn to master this ability for sure. It seems overpowered on paper, but it's balanced. You can't shoot whilst flying, you have a short delay after deactivating the jets before your weapon is available, you're much easier to hit in the air than say launch day Horizon, and you have limited fuel that recharges slowly when you aren't using the jets. Valkyrie's next passive is her unique UI while skydiving. It will highlight any enemies in Valk's line of sight up to a certain distance, and all players on her team will see it. Valkyrie is also a recon legend, so she gets the recon passive. Valkyrie's tactical is Missile Swarm. She fires out a grid of 12 missiles that damage players on average from 25 to 40 damage, and it also stuns them, similarly to an arc star but not as powerful. You can also pair this ability with Valkyrie's VTOL jet, which is the only way you'll be able to damage players whilst flying. Valkyrie's ultimate is Skyward Jump. Upon activation, there will be a short charge up time, during which teammates can attach to Valk. Once charged, Valk can fire into the sky before being sent into a skydive. It's like a portable redeploy balloon, definitely powerful for repositioning and escaping, but it does have a pretty long cooldown time. In summary, Valkyrie is an exciting legend with a range of abilities that have, in my opinion, quite a high skill curve. She seems overpowered on paper, but there are limits in place to keep her in check. She's not a launch day Horizon, but she's not a launch day Rampart either, maybe somewhere closer to Horizon. Oh, and she's just really cool.
Valkyrie's got you in the pipe, 5x5.
If you want to learn more about Valkyrie in more detail, I have an in-depth guide with a bunch of neat tips and tricks to prepare you for launch day. Check the card on screen or check the pinned comment. Up next we have Arenas mode. This is a huge addition to Apex Legends, and it's going to be something that could draw a huge number of new players in. If you want your Apex fix but don't have time for BR or want to try to be competitive in a new way, Arenas is for you. It features 3 vs 3 battles on a range of custom maps and maps taken from eras within the Battle Royale game. It has a round-based system where you take the win once you win a round after having a 2-point lead. As the rounds go on, each team gathers more money to spend on better weapon upgrades, abilities, meds and grenades. The gameplay will definitely focus on a more coordinated, slower paced engagement than most BR fights, but it's more calculated, and the games last just 5 to 10 minutes on average. There's a constant battle for resources, and I can see the meta evolving into something super fun and competitive over time. If you want to learn more about Arenas, exactly how it works, and have a great head start with some tips on launch day, I've created a guide to get you started too. Next, let's talk about the Bocek Bow. This is a weapon that is outrageously scary and is probably due a nerf, honestly, at least in Arenas mode. The Bocek Bow is a fast firing weapon that does more damage the more you hold the bow string back by holding down the fire button. It uses a new ammo type and it has 2 hop-ups, Deadeye's Tempo and Shatter Caps. Shatter Caps basically turn it into a close range shotgun in some ways. It fires bursts of arrows that deal medium damage that are easy to hit. The interesting hop-up is the Deadeye's Tempo. Fire at the perfect time and the next shot will fire faster, and you can keep repeating this to build a really fast fire rate. The bow is deadly in Arenas because it comes with both hop-ups, and the Bocek Bow can hold both at once and you can switch between them like changing fire rate. It's balanced more in Battle Royale because the hop-ups will be hard to find at times and the arrow ammo is sparse. To balance that, if you miss an arrow, it will land on the floor and you'll pick it back up when you walk over it. If you kill a player, their death box will contain all the arrows that you hit them with. There's a lot to talk about this weapon, and I'll probably release an in-depth guide on the stats and everything about it tomorrow, so make sure to sub for that. Alright, now onto all the other bits and pieces. Firstly, Olympus has received a map update. A fleet of unmanned ships have collided with Olympus, and on board is a strange parasitic being that has slowly started to spread its way across Olympus. For now, the impacts are small, but the change has brought with it a new point of interest to replace the area between Orbital Cannon and Bonsai Plaza. The Icarus is a huge ship that is filled with loot and can accommodate multiple teams. They can spread out freely in this area and loot up safely before fights begin. It's far larger than the carrier point of interest. There's also a unique feature on board the Icarus. You'll find crewmates' bodies scattered around, and one will hold a key card. Use it to open the doors for the bridge at the very front of the Icarus to get a bunch of high tier loot. Besides what I've just described, Olympus hasn't changed elsewhere, and I think that's a good thing. It's performing well according to the devs. The skybox has changed though. It's not as colourful, but it is beautiful in its own right. So these are the 4 major changes coming to Apex Legends: Valkyrie, Arena Mode, the Bocek Bow, and the Olympus Map update. But this is only the beginning. We've got a bunch of meta changes. Low profile is now gone, so Watson, Lifeline, and Wraith are all getting buffs. Lifeline's revive shield is gone from her drone, but in my experience it's not as big of a nerf as you'd first think. Her ultimate and tactical have gotten buffed massively, you get better loot for your team, and your drone tactical heals 60% faster. Octane's tactical has been adjusted. He can now stim much more frequently, basically constantly if he wanted to, but it comes at a cost. It now damages him 20 health instead of 12, so you'll need to be a bit more careful about using it all the time. Horizon also got a nerf, a pretty big one. Her mid-air strafing is really bad now, at least whilst in the gravity lift, and it sort of feels clunky and unintuitive. But I haven't had a massive amount of time to test it, but I do know that Horizon fans are going to be pretty uncomfortable with this change, but everybody else is going to breathe a sigh of relief. The specific weapon meta I'm not so sure of at the top of my head, but the Peacekeeper is back as ground loot. A lot of people will be happy about that. Taking its place is surprisingly the Triple Take. It seems pretty powerful. A new weapon class has been added, the Marksman class, featuring the Triple Take, Repeater, Scout, and Bocek Bow. They all still use their normal ammo types. The Repeater can also use the Shatter Caps, which will allow it to be used as sort of an up-close shotgun in desperate measures. The Sentinel can also use the Deadeye's Tempo. It maxes out after 2 consecutive shots, but that extra fire rate is easier to master than the bow and is really going to give a nice boost to the sniper. There are a bunch of new cosmetics. Keep an eye on the Battle Pass trailer. A lot of people will be pretty hyped. There are also some new emotes, ground emotes. Each legend comes with 1 unlocked by default, as well as 2 more unlockable through Apex packs or crafting materials. I'll do a short video covering all of these, but essentially you can pop an emote at any time you like, just like you can pop a quip, and you'll go into third person and perform an animation. Don't worry though, there's an anti-peek feature built in. You can't do them too close to a wall, and if there is somebody that wouldn't be in your first person line of sight, they simply won't render on your screen when you peek with the emote playing. They've also cleaned up the UI on the menu, badges are easier to understand, a few changes have been made to choosing your game mode, and there are new arena badges. And in the future, they plan to bring ranked to arenas. Also, World's Edge will be the first map on rotation in ranked, before switching to Olympus midway through the season. I've posted a bunch of videos by the time you finish watching this video, so if you want to see more features in Apex Legends Legacy, go check out my channel. Thanks so much for watching, I'll see you in the comments. Cheerio!